to Confident AF Live, taking your mindset next level to get next year's results today with me, your host, Brandon Foster. Are you a badass peep with big dreams, ready to turn your unrealistic goals into reality? Confident AF Live is the gateway to enormous new opportunities and unlimited possibilities. The unrealistic can suddenly become realistic for you if you believe it. Are you ready to take your dreams and results to the next level? Then stay tuned as we help crack open the door to new ways of impactful thinking and believing about yourself with mindset practices for badass people like you. Confident AF Live starts right now. Hello, Boo! Welcome to another live episode of Confident AF. I am your host, Brandon Foster. Super excited to be here as always. And today we're going to be talking about responding versus reaction when people mistreat you. I feel like this is a really important topic because as much as I would love to tell all of you, people will never mistreat you. They will never undervalue you. They will never disrespect you. The truth is that they will. And some of these people are going to do this intentionally. Some people are really going to do this unintentionally. Sometimes when people do this to you intentionally or unintentionally, you are going to spiral out and make things a way bigger deal than they actually are because of your own insecurities. And sometimes you're going to spiral way out of control and really have a hard time with it because you really should be upset. Like it was really, really terrible what they did to you and was really, really bad. And so no matter where you fall in the spectrum, whether they knowingly did this or unknowingly did this, whether you have a right to be really, really angry or really it's not that big of a deal, it doesn't matter. The processes that I'm going to share with you today are going to help you to be the best version of you in that process, to help you assert power and control over your life, to, as my friend Amanda Francis says, to turn the shit into gold, to harvest it for all the good that it is, to not use it as a setback, but use it as a setup for a really beautiful opportunity in your life, in your business, to use it for your good, to harvest it for all the things. I am so excited for this. And I want to clarify why that I am presenting this specific podcast episode today. And it's because after coaching thousands of entrepreneurs, I realized that there is not a human being that is walking planet Earth who has not hurt somebody else. And the truth is, I am a human being, which means I've hurt people too. And so one thing I do want you to keep in mind as we walk through this process is what would happen if the roles were switched? What would happen if you were the perpetrator and you had hurt somebody else? Because, the Bible verse, you reap what you sow. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, am I sowing or am I reaping? And I pray to God every single day that I think this is the hardest part of what I'm about to talk about is like, I know I'm not perfect and I know I'm a human being. I want people to forgive me. I want people to give me second chances. I want people to extend me grace because I know that God has given me so much grace. God has given me forgiveness. And I definitely want to continue receiving that. I also feel like there are times when people do something in our life that you can forgive them, you can move past it, you can heal it, but that doesn't mean they have to be a part of your life. If they're in your business, it doesn't mean they have to stay a part of your business. It means that you have permission to love them and walk away and not stay. And so today, that's really what I want to talk about is this 7 system process that I have I've developed over years of study of a lot of people who know a lot more smarter things about mindset and energy than I do, a lot of prayer and tears with God, and a lot of times where I have either been mistreated because I haven't had good enough boundaries and undervalued myself, or whether it's just been accidents and was unintentional. And we're going to talk about all the things. It's going to be great. So the first thing I want to say is that when someone hurts your feelings, when you feel mistreated, when you feel undervalued, when you feel disrespected, the first thing I want you to do is don't react emotionally. And I want to be really clear on this. A lot of people say to ignore your emotions or suppress the emotions. That is the worst advice you can have. That's why society has so many problems, is because we are not taught how to actually process our emotions. We're not taught how to move through the emotions. We are taught that you are weak or that you are not strong if you allow yourself to cry or be angry or judge yourself or whatever have you. And a lot of this actually creates more depression and creates more bitterness and more anger and more resentment in the relationships than if you would actually allow yourself to feel how it is you're feeling without judgment. So that's the first thing. Please give yourself permission to feel however you want to feel. If you're angry and you need to do like hit a pillow or go to one of those break rooms, where you go in and you smash everything and you pay to like destroy objects and stuff to like let the emotions and energy run through. Maybe you need to cry. Maybe you need to exercise it out. Maybe if you're really frustrated with like your business or frustrated with how someone treated you, maybe you just need some time, right? Like whatever it is that you are feeling, just know you are safe to feel it. Feeling is an emotional indicator of how you're actually thinking and perceiving the situation. And give yourself permission and space to process your emotions and do not react, which means saying things or doing things from an emotional state as opposed to a processed state. A processed state occurs once you process your emotions and you've made the decision to be your best self and put your best foot forward. So number two, after and this is you kind of do step number two while you're doing step number one, but you want to ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Why does it feel this way? What has happened? And why am I feeling how I feel right now? What has happened? And why am I feeling what I'm feeling right now? I think this is really important because whenever someone mistreats us, undervalues us, whatever they're doing, we assign meaning to that. And we often make it mean things about who we are or how they think we are or how they perceive us. And sometimes it's just blatantly not true. Like there was no malintent. It wasn't because they didn't respect you. It wasn't because they didn't appreciate you. It wasn't any of those pieces. But if you have insecurities and unhealed stuff on your side of the street, you can totally assign meaning to that. So what I have found with all of my one-on-one coaching clients, and even myself personally, because I am a human being and I am not immune, is to make sure that I'm taking time to ask myself, what is this really about, Brandon? Why are we really feeling these emotions? Is this an old core wound that we're healing on a deeper level? Is this unrealized fear? Like, what is it that we are making this about? Now, sometimes what we think it is really what it is. Like, they really are undervaluing you. They really are mistreating you. They really did disrespect you. And so, regardless, when you understand how you feel and why you feel that way, the thought behind it, the reasoning behind it, the meaning that you've given it, now you are armed with something to take to God to help you through and to heal. Okay. To let love in other words. All right. And that is really, really important because one of the things I've noticed for so many badasses, especially in the business world and business community, is we don't like to share our unhealed hurts, our wounds, our insecurities, because if you share with people who can't hold the space, if you share with people who you can't trust, the people can use that against you, right? And why do people use that against you if you share it to the wrong person? Because they are insecure in their own way and they want to make themselves feel better. And it's just, I don't know what to say, but it's just bad. It's just bad, right? But the truth is that you need to feel safe and comfortable to share that with at least your creator, to allow that to be healed so that you can move further faster than you ever have before inside of your business. Because if you don't heal those things, those wounds will constantly come up and keep you from fully developing the business that you can actually develop. So the third step is to really look at any part that you may have played in the situation or circumstance. And the biggest piece that I see a lot in terms of businesses, especially in terms of, let's say you feel mistreated because a vendor or a partner is not honoring an agreement or respecting your time or what have you. Or let's say you are an independent contractor, or you're blessing somebody else's business as an expert, or you are an employee of a major corporation, like whatever it is. Oftentimes, what you have to look at is, did I actually ever have a conversation with this person and give them a chance to change? Like, did I ever tell them how I was feeling? Did I ever voice my concerns or my opinions about this? Was I ever honest with them? Because what I have found, which my friend Megan, who's the so-called queen of ops. I love you, Megan. She has a 6A framework that she encourages badass business owners to use and their one-on-ones with their team. And in it, she incorporates this idea of, is there anything that I need to apologize for? And the reason why that's so incredibly important is because that provides an opportunity for the employee, partner, IC, expert, whoever. It allows them the opportunity to voice a concern, how they're feeling, without fear of retribution, of payback, of insecurity. And it allows the business partnership to grow and blossom in trust, because when you feel undervalued, when you feel underappreciated, when you feel mistreated, you can start to harbor bitterness and resentment, especially if the other individual doesn't recognize what they've actually done. And so what I have found, even talking to a one-on-one coaching client yesterday, where they had hired someone to do some of their marketing for them, and they really didn't feel like they were fully invested. They didn't feel like they were getting the full value of the money that they were spending. They really felt like they were put on a back burner. There was like continuous cancellation of meetings and times, and there was just a lot going on. And what unfolded in our conversation was, and how much of this have you already told this marketing person that you felt and expressed? And the truth was that they expressed some of it, but they hadn't expressed all of it. And even the piece that they had expressed, they hadn't really fully voiced it. They hadn't fully expressed it. And I really feel like that's a huge piece of accepting responsibility of how people are treating you, is make sure that you have those boundaries set. Make sure that you are communicating when you feel those things, why you feel those things, and feel safe to do that. I feel like you will set yourself up for bigger success by being honest about that. So number 3 is, look at your own side of the street, boo. Look and see, did you have the honest conversation? And if you haven't, beautiful. Now is the time to have it. All right. Number 4 is, don't ghost. Okay. Like oftentimes when we get our feelings hurt, or we're frustrated, or we feel mistreated, we feel undervalued, we just want to just like ignore the person, ignore the situation. And a lot of it is because we put this weird pressure on ourselves that we have to have an answer. We have to have articulate response. We have to tell them exactly what's happening, how we're feeling, what we actually want. And the truth is, you can respond without knowing any of that. Really, what I have found to be the most helpful response when you need time to process a situation like this, where you need time to process your emotions and forgive and heal and hand over to God and all the things, is you really need to provide yourself time and space to do that. And so the most helpful way to do this without ghosting somebody is just to say, hey, because this happened and because of how I'm currently feeling, you don't even have to tell them how you're feeling if you don't want. Because of how I'm currently feeling, I want to take some time to gather my thoughts and process what has transpired so I can decide how I would like to move forward. Okay, that's it. Like, I know it's kind of a general response, but it is a response. It tells the person that you're not ghosting them, that you are invested at figuring a way out of this relationship, this obstacle, this opportunity, this challenge, like whatever it is, and that you are simply going to take time to process your emotions. Think about your decision. What is the best way to move forward? So that's number 4. Don't ghost. Tell the person what is upsetting or transpired, because sometimes they don't even know what happened. Give space to process. Tell them you need time. Number 5 is buckets of forgiveness. Buckets and buckets of forgiveness. And as Gabby Bernstein says, the first step of forgiveness is being willing to forgive. You know, there's been a lot of times in my life where people have mistreated me, hurt me, walked over me, undervalued me, disrespected me, took advantage of money, resources, whatever have you. And sometimes they haven't, right? I just feel that way. Sometimes they have, but I let them do it because I didn't have boundaries. So there's like a whole bunch of nuance inside of all of that. The good news is that forgiveness will heal all of that. So all you have to do is be willing to forgive, which really means willing to accept what has happened, willing and knowing that you can't change it, and really handing over the situation, the circumstance for love to move through. It is not about saying the behavior was okay. It is not about allowing that behavior to happen again. It is not about saying and excusing the person or the individual for the actions. It's not any of that. Forgiveness is for you. It is about severing the emotional cord of bitterness, angerness, and resentment that keeps out the flow of love inside of your life and your business. That is what it is about. Buckets of forgiveness. Start with the willingness. Forgive yourself for the part that you played. I forgive you, Brandon, for not having conversations sooner. I forgive you, Brandon, for not raising your prices sooner. Like whatever it is, forgive yourself first. Forgive the person. I forgive you for not, and the thing is, you can forgive someone, they didn't even know what they did wrong, right? I forgive you for unknowingly undervaluing me. I forgive you for cutting me out unknowingly, like whatever it is. You can forgive the people for that. Forgive the person, forgive the event, like forgive the event that happened, and forgive all the feelings that you have too. I forgive you for feeling like you're not worthy. I forgive you for feeling like you're not valuable. I forgive you for feeling. I forgive you for judging the other person. I forgive you for judging yourself. Like judgment is a separation of love. So do all the forgiveness, massive and massive and massive amounts of forgiveness. That's step number 4. No, 5. Number 6, which is really, I can't even remember how I got this idea. Honestly, I don't. It just came to me one day, which is one of the biggest fears we have as individuals is voicing how we really feel to a person, a company, an organization, a thing. And the reason why we're afraid is because we know that everybody has a different lens, a different perspective, and everybody has their own set of assumptions and judgments. And so one of the things that we're often afraid to do when we confront people, which by the way, we are talking about confrontation, because confront means to, well, I'd have to look up the definition to know exactly what the legitimate definition is or the official definition is, but confront means to hit a problem or opportunity head on, right? And so what we are talking about is confronting an organization, a person, an individual, an event, and facing it. And oftentimes we know that when we confront people, there can be defensiveness. There can be a refusal to see things from your perspective. Again, own assumptions, own judgments, perspectives. And oftentimes our perspectives and beliefs that we have, oftentimes our perspectives are based on beliefs, patterns of thought, based on how other people treated us, right? Which is why so many relationships get destroyed, is because you're treating people how other people have treated you and assuming that they had malintent when maybe they didn't have malintent. And sometimes they do have malintent. So what I have found is really helpful is talking to the person or persons as if they're in the room with you, even though they're not, where you have the opportunity to pour out your heart and love and honesty, how you're really feeling, your frustration, your disappointments, everything that is going through your emotional body, your brain, what you really want to have happen, how you want love and light to happen, how you want the situation rectified. Just pour it all out, because you're going to clear so much energy, emotional space. You're going to feel so much better. And you're able to do that without having any fear of retribution, of payback, of assumptions, of warped perceptions or perspective. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And then the seventh thing to do, which is really the most important, is hand all of it over to your creator. Hand it over to God. Like, seriously, why not hand it over when obviously you are uniquely adored and loved? And do you, in your humanness, want to be the vindicator of a circumstance and situation that will become limited for what you can do when God, who created the whole entire universe, can do whatever? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like trying to think of a really good analogy, because I love analogies that you can really anchor into. Okay, so this is a funny analogy, but just go with me. All right. As someone who used to love watching WWE wrestling all the time, like I grew up with it as a teenager, it would be like your hornswoggle. Okay. Your hornswoggle in the ring, and you're fighting all sorts of different, entities and giants. And literally, like, Undertaker is just waiting for you to tag him in to take care of all of them for you. Like, your hornswoggle, let Undertaker take care of it. I know it's a silly analogy, but I really feel like you all will get it, understand it, comprehend it, and you will never forget that forever. But let the creator of the universe be your vindicator. Let God make things right for you. Let God reorchestrate. Let God pay back double what is lost. Let him work everything through for love. And I have to be honest, I'm leaning on a lot of that right now in my own life and my business, in a lot of different ways. Some of the messes that I've created myself too, by the way. Don't ever be afraid to let God come in and clean up the kitchen. Okay, this is a random tangent on this episode, but I'm just going to say this right now. One of the things that I see so many entrepreneurs that keeps themselves from being blessed by God is they're scared to just get in the kitchen and cook. It's like they're trying to cook a new masterpiece, like a new recipe of service for people. And they won't get in the kitchen and actually cook, and they won't actually try the recipe because they're so afraid that they're going to burn it, that it's going to create a huge mess, that the oven's going to blow up, like whatever's going to happen. And the truth is, sometimes you're going to make a massive mess. But the thing is, your creator loves you and is just so excited that you're trying to cook that, of course, the mess will be taken care of. And I feel like we all have pieces in our lives, whether it is business related, relationships related, finances related, it doesn't matter what it is. But I feel like there's some pieces in our life that we made such a big mess that literally all we need to do is be like, you know what, God, this is a huge mess. I'm just gonna, and I feel like God's just like, we leave the kitchen, please. Just leave the kitchen. Let me take care of this. Let me get you a head start. Let me do all this stuff. And I feel like that is a really beautiful thing. And I feel like it is always available. So let God take care of the mess. Okay. I love you all so much. Quick recap of the 7 steps when you feel like someone's mistreated you. Number 1, don't react. Feel what you're feeling and sit with it. Number 2, Ask, why do I feel this way? What is this really about? A piece of me that really needs to heal or set boundaries or do a little bit of both. Number 3, look at the places where you need to accept responsibility. Did you ever have a conversation that could have prevented this? Did you have boundaries set to protect your time, protect your energy? Number 4, don't ghost. If you need time to process, if you need time to move through the emotions, tell the person that you're going to take time to think about the situation, think about the circumstance, and then meet with them at a later time. Number 5, buckets of forgiveness. First step is being willing to forgive. All right. Number 6, talk to them as if they're in the room for them with them, even though you're not, and let it all out. Let it all out without fear of retribution or payback or perspectives or assumption. Do that. And number 7, hand it all over to your creator, boo. It's always the best, simplest, and easiest way. I love you so much. Share this episode with someone that it can encourage. Have a beautiful day.
You have been listening to Confident AF Live, taking your mindset next level to get next year's results today with host Brandon Foster on transformationtalkradio.com. Listen or watch live every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, where I help badasses like you with big dreams learn to take their impact and results next level, turning those unrealistic goals into reality. Confident AF Live is the gateway to enormous new opportunities and unlimited possibilities. For more information, get in touch with me, Brandon, at brandonrfoster.com.